Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am your girl Kayon Aldria, telling you like it is. Anyways, for today I have a video planned and I really hope you will like it, and I hope it will be eye-opening to say the least for the most part. The question is, you would have seen it: can you afford to buy a house in Canada? So if you're planning on coming here and you're probably already well established in your home country, you have your house, you have your car, you have all the basic necessities of life, and you're wondering, maybe if I sell my house, sell my car, or maybe rent out my house, sell my car, start back over, will I be able to one day afford housing in Canada, like buy my own house or multiple houses? You know what I mean? Well, let's run the numbers. Let's see if you can. At the end of the day, it is up to you. When you're coming to Canada, you need to be very strategic on where you are going, especially if you're planning on buying a house there one day, because the cost of living in Canada varies by cities. There's another option: know where the prices are affordable for housing. So you might be doing school like myself in an expensive city, but maybe hey, after I'm finished with school, I might need to move out of that city or that province to go where you would like to buy a house. You have to keep these things in mind if your end goal is also to get a house in Canada. I am going to tell you the cost of living per, I'm just going to use some, not all of them. We can't go through all the cities in Canada or all the provinces either, but I'm going to give you an idea of what the cost of living is like for some of these provinces, what house prices are, the average house prices in these provinces are like, and last but not least, what the money is like when you live there. The average cost of house in a city like Vancouver is approximately $1 million, 1.1 million thereabout for a house. The average cost, right? This is based on Canada statistics. When you look at Ontario, the average cost of house in Ontario is about $887,000 thereabout. When you compare those average costs of house to Alberta, which is somewhere about $400,000 plus, right? So if you look at it, Vancouver is coming in at $1 million average. British Columbia, I'm not saying Vancouver, British Columbia is coming in at an average of about $1 million for the cost of housing. Yikes. Ontario is coming in at around $887 at an average cost of housing, and Alberta over there on the other hand is coming in at around 400 and something thousand. And those provinces are like the top 3 provinces in Canada. It's where most persons want to live. So where do you want to live? The cost of living by provinces also vary. So let's look at the same cost of living for the same provinces, the major ones of course. In British Columbia, where I am at, the average cost of living in British Columbia and this is per one person average, especially bear in mind Vancouver. I think Vancouver carried up this price a lot compared to the other cities here, but you're looking at rent on an average for $2,034 per month. You're looking at food for per month at least $514. You're looking at public transportation for at least on an average of $101 per month, and entertainment on an average of $240 per month. This is on an average, and it is based on one person, right? So Vancouver really carried up this price for the average in terms of the whole British Columbia, because I currently do not pay $514 per month for food, but on an average. So let's just say the average cost of living here in British Columbia is somewhere around $2,500. For Ontario, the average cost of living for rent is somewhere around $1,877 per month. For food, it's on an average of $489 per month. And for public transportation, it is an average of $115 per month. And entertainment is $275. And those are the average. It might be a bit below or a bit more is the average. Right, just right in the middle. And let's look at Alberta. Let's compare Alberta. So Alberta, the cost of living in Alberta, on the other hand, compared to these other two cities, is rent is somewhere around $1,669 per month. Food is somewhere between $200 to $300 per month. Public transportation is somewhere around $103 per month. And entertainment again is the same, $253 per month. So of all these major cities, Alberta has the cheapest cost of living overall. Then you have Ontario and British Columbia, the most expensive. So now that you know the cost of living, right? And you know the average cost for a house, the question you probably want to ask is, how much will I be paid? Because you need to be paid enough so that you can live and pay mortgage. For this purpose only, I am going to use British Columbia to do this assessment compared to Alberta. I'm not going to do all three, I just did all three so that you could at least have an idea. So think about it. In British Columbia, according to Statistics Canada, the average household makes around $90,000 per year average. I was not clear on whether this was after taxes deducted or before, so yeah, that's a disclaimer to know. But being here and well, knowing people working in the professional world, I would say if you are educated, or if you have a business, you don't have to be educated to have a business, or if you have a business, or you are doing something that makes money, because there are so many things here that can do to make money, I can tell you easily you will pass that average of 90,000. So that's something to note. So think about it. If you're making around 90,000 in British Columbia, after taxes deducted, your pay will be somewhere around 5,000 something. Taxes calculated on a marginal rate here. After your tax is deducted, you would be making a net income of $67,547 per year. Per month, on a monthly basis, you would be making $5,600 thereabout. Those are the numbers, right? So imagine if house prices are $1 million. Let's use $1 million. It's a little bit more, but you can get deals on the market every now and then. If house prices are $1 million, currently now, when I went in the bank last time, I was told is that interest rate for mortgages are trending upwards for British Columbia, while house prices are on a bit of the down low. However, they are not falling that drastically or going down that much. But you know, this is happening in the market currently because if you know, you know. Canada has this rule for the next 2 years. We're already in one more year to go. That foreigners who are not a permanent resident of Canada, or a Canadian citizen, it's not that they cannot, so don't get it wrong, it's not that they cannot buy houses, it's more of they have to pay a high down payment, which is somewhere around 20%. Something like that. Somewhere there. I don't remember the exact figure, but you have to pay a foreigner's fee, which is a hefty amount. Right? So due to that, I think that's one of the reasons driving the market down, as well as house prices are so expensive. It cannot be like that forever. At some point, it has to top out, right? It has to, yeah. So that's what we're seeing now in the market. House prices are a bit down, but they still seem like they're not moving downwards enough. And I've seen that already. Once interest rates starts increasing a bit, prices go the other way. So the banks now are giving a variable interest rate. You can check it for yourself. They're giving a variable interest rate of somewhere around 2.03%, while if you're going for fixed, it's somewhere around 4 point something to 5% per annum, right? And people in Canada are saying that those are the highest rates they've ever seen for mortgage. I'm just like, you've never been to Jamaica, right? Because Jamaica right now is 6.99%. What are you talking about? Yeah. So in Canada, for mortgage, you can get your interest rate at a variable rate, or you can get it at a fixed rate set for life or variable. It moves while the market moves. Up to you. So if you're paying, if you have a mortgage or a house for $1 million, right? And think about it. Let's say you're going with the variable. You're riding it out with the storm, and your annum interest rate, your per annum interest rate is somewhere about 2.03%. So the down payment is up to you. In Canada, you can pay as little as 5% if you are a permanent resident or a Canadian, and how good your credit is. Totally up to the lending institution and you, or you can pay as much as 10% or whatever you'd like to pay. So at a 10% down payment and a 2.03% interest rate, you're looking at a mortgage somewhere around $3,800 per month. Now you would no longer have rent, right? So rent before, which was $2,000, we no longer have that. So what we have now is the food, the entertainment, and the bus pass. So your total expenses now, plus your new mortgage, which is $3,800, is now roughly somewhere about $4,300. You can add it up, just rough estimations, right? And your pay in British Columbia, you would have seen that per month it would be somewhere around $5,600, I think, if my numbers are correct. Or you can see that you would have remaining after paying your mortgage and your expenses about $1,300 remaining. So the question is, can you afford it? In my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can say with clarity, based on those numbers, you can afford to buy a house in British Columbia. It is very expensive, but you can. If you are able to get a good paying job that pays that type of money, you can. So that was it for the numbers, guys. Let me put down this and talk about some other real things, because I just wanted you to see the numbers. Now that I've got all the numbers out the way, you see what you are left with. You have $1,300 left, right? And I know Statistics Canada said 90,000 average in British Columbia, but that's just Statistics Canada. But if you've been here in Canada, you have an idea when you get a good job what the pay is like. You can go on LinkedIn for yourself, especially in British Columbia, and you will see the pays, you will see the money, right? And professional jobs, that's what they are paid per person, not household. So if you have a good job, if you are educated and you are marketable and can get a good job, that figure that they are saying per household, you can get it on average somewhere range right there, and that's just you. And hopefully you're going to have a partner. So by yourself, if you have a good job, you can make moves, you can get a house, and that is in British Columbia. And British Columbia is very expensive. There are other places you could go, but since we're still on the topic of British Columbia, so if you are making that by yourself, you can afford it. Numbers do not lie, and I like to use numbers because they paint the big picture. That's one. Two, if you have a partner, you even more can afford it. It's a no-brainer. And if you have a business, you tend to make more than a professional job ever will pay you. Okay? Next thing you want to bear in mind is that a lot of these houses in Canada that people buy, they have a basement. You can rent out the basement. That's additional income. Please know the prices of houses, those were more, it had to do with house. I did not say apartments. Here in British Columbia, walking around, I see apartments selling 600, 700,000 for maybe a little box or one studio, but it's below $1 million. So it all depends on what you want or what you're looking for. I gave house prices, house, right? So you can rent out the basement. That's still an option. And like I said, if you want to do a second job, that's still an option to make more money on top of what you're making, just in case you don't have a professional job. So you can afford a house in Canada. You can buy a house in Canada. That's one. And also you can consider, if you're coming here and you want to buy a house in Canada, you know, you do not have to come to British Columbia. You do not have to come to expensive places like British Columbia. That's another thing. Alberta has great prices for houses. And Alberta, if you did not know, they are one of the top paying provinces in Canada for professionals. And their taxes aren't as high as British Columbia and Ontario. So consider Alberta. It's a great option, just that it's a bit cold at winter times, but not as cold as Manitoba. But Manitoba also has great house prices, averaging somewhere around 300,000 there. But do your research. But you can afford to buy a house in Canada. The only thing I would say is, if you go to a province apart from Alberta that I just mentioned, like a Saskatchewan, cost of living is lower, yes, but so is the other things. So is your income. Yeah, so is your income. So do your research, think, put your numbers, your pen and paper together, and work out which province is best for you. Research your job or the career that you are in, and have an idea of how much money you will be able to make. You can do a business, no brainer. If you have a certification in a trade, You can charge your own money, and you're not going to charge, once you're building up your experience, you're not going to charge anything less than $78 an hour. That's the market, right? So like even a Red Seal certification, you can start a business with that. It's not hard to start a business, especially here in British Columbia. So that's a pro tip. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, hit that like button, and do not forget to subscribe and share this video so someone might see. Thank you so much. Bye.